Hey kids, Flexing Teacher Weber here. Hope you're having a good day. We've started looking at multiplication of fractions. Last week we did a multiplication of a fraction by a whole number. Talked a bit about what that means. And now this week we're going to start multiplying fractions, proper fractions together. And what I wanted to do first was show what that actually means to multiply fractions, because it's sort of a neat concept. So we're going to do this activity called fraction action, where we do really easy multiplication of fractions questions, but we focus on what it actually looks like when we multiply a fraction. So this is a worksheet you're going to have a copy of. To do this, you're going to need two different colors. You're going to need like a pencil, and then you're going to need like a pencil crayon would be ideal. Something that's a different color than your pencil, like a red pencil crayon or something like that. Something that has two distinct colors. So what we're going to do is, we learned last week that when we're multiplying two fractions, it really means one fraction of another. So when we have the question 1/2 times 1/3, that really means 1/2 of 1/3. So I'm going to write that there. And every time you do these questions, I'd like you to write that under the multiplication sign. So we're going to show what 1/2 of 1/3 looks like. Now what we're going to do to show this is we're going to start with actually the second fraction. We're going to start with 1/3. And on our square above, we're going to draw what 1/3 looks like, and we're going to use one of our colors. I'm going to start with blue. Now you'll notice on here that there are little ticks that help you divide this up. So I'm going to divide this into thirds. I'm going to start with the second fraction. I'm going to divide this into thirds, like so. And I'm going to shade in 1/3. So let's shade in 1/3. Just lightly shaded on yours. I don't have a shading feature on my program, so I'm just going to do that. There's 1/3. Now, you got to sort of picture this differently now. We're going to go and we're going to do the first fraction now, 1/2, because we want to show what 1/2 of 1/3 looks like. So you'll see here on the page, there's a tick there, and there's a tick there. And I'm going to use my different color now. And you can actually divide this in a half. So you can see now we've got this divided into halves like that. Sort of up and down, right? And I'm going to shade in a half in my different color. So now what you'll notice is that we have a total of 6 rectangles this is divided into. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And check this out. 2 times 3 is 6. So the number of little sections the square is divided into equals the denominator of the answer. Now check this out. The number of parts that have both red and blue on them is just 1. It's one of these parts. It's this one right here. I'm going to put an X through that, and I'd like you to do that too. So, and look down here. 1 times 1 is 1. So the parts that show the overlap of both red and blue equal the numerator of our answer. Now, what this is showing is that the multiplication of two fractions equals the overlap of those two fractions. And that's why our answer actually gets smaller than the two fractions in the question, because the multiplication of two fractions shows the overlap. And our answer is 1/6. One rectangle out of the entire 6 is the answer. Okay, maybe that makes sense, maybe it doesn't. Let's look at another one. So we're going to show what 2/3 of 1/3 looks like, or 2/3 times 1/3. So I'm going to write 2/3 of 1/3. And we're going to start with our second fraction always. So we're going to start with 1/3. And we're going to divide this into thirds. And we're going to shade in 1/3. Just lightly shaded in. And now we're going to go to the other fraction, the first fraction, because we want to show what 2/3 of 1/3 looks like. We want to show what 2/3 of this amount looks like. So we're going to use our different color. I'm going to use red. And I'm going to shade in thirds using the ticks the other way. And this time I'm going to shade in 2/3. So I'm going to shade in 2/3 all the way here and 2/3 all the way here. And now check this out. We have this square divided into 9 mini squares, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if you look down at the bottom here, 3 times 3 is 9. So the number of mini squares is the denominator of the fraction. Now, let's put an X through the squares that have both red and blue in them. I count 1, I count 2. And if you look at this, 2 times 1 is equal to 2. So the overlap represents the numerator of the fraction. And that's what the multiplication of two fractions means. It means the overlap of two fractions. Let's do one more. 1/6 times 1/12. Well, this is 1/6 of 1/12. And the answer is easy, right? That's not what we're concerned about today. The answer is 1 times 1 is 1, and 6 times 2 is 12. What I'm concerned about is showing what this looks like. So we're going to start with the second fraction, 1/2. And I'm going to use my blue, and you can see here that there's ticks to divide this in 1/2 and shade this in 1/2, like so. Now, with my different color going the other way, I'm going to shade this into 6 equal sections. And you can see the little ticks. There's 1, there's 2 sections, 3 sections, 4 sections, 5 sections, and then 6 equal sections down on the bottom here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we want to shade in 1/6. So we'll shade in this entire amount. That's 1/6. Now check this out. Okay. The number of little mini rectangles, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. And that's how we get the denominator 12. And how many of them have both red and blue in them? Well, I count just one of them. That one has both red and blue. And what that is showing, this is 1/2. This whole blue part is 1/2. And this overlap is showing what 1/6 of 1/2 looks like. 1/6 of 1/2 is 1 out of 12. So we'll put an X through the overlap here. And we know that 1 times 1 equals the overlap 1. So the numbers are easy today because we're showing what the multiplication of fractions looks like. Your assignment today is to complete this activity for both sides of this worksheet, side 1 and side 2. I'd like you to do both for tomorrow. I hope that makes sense. That's all for now. Have a good night. Flexing Teacher Weber out.